Good afternoon, all of you. So today we are going to start another webinar on field data collection and monitoring. Before starting the webinar, we would like to inform you that if you have any difficulties of logging into the Zoom session, we also sharing this webinar through YouTube and Facebook Live. So you can connect if some of you can't connect due to the limited logins. You can always connect back to those streams. Okay, so first we'll start the field data collection and monitoring. So I think almost all the fields, not only for GIS users, the field data collection is very important thing. So let's see what we can do with different tools related to GIS and also related to ArcGIS, how we can use them in the field data collection purposes. And also the monitoring is very important when you are collecting or when you are having a field force deployed in the field. We have to monitor, or we have to monitor the data collection. So various changes can be made based on that. So two prominent tools we will discuss here. One is called ArcGIS Survey 123 and also ArcGIS Dashboards. So combination of these two apps, there are different workflows of data collection as well as monitoring. So I'm Sukun Sirivardhana and we are representing GIS Solutions Private Limited, and we have done many webinars throughout past year, and we are the sole distributor for ArcGIS software in Sri Lanka. So before going into the different tools, first we have to identify the architecture of this particular technology. So this is related to geographic information system and also especially for the WebGIS technologies, or the WebGIS, web-based geographical information systems. So in ArcGIS, we have kind of a platform to enable this WebGIS facility. So here there are different components. So overall, there's a content management thing called portal or the web portal, and it can be connected with various web-based applications and also the applications from different devices. So especially when we are in data collection, we can use various devices, and based on different accuracies also we can try various devices. So based on that, a centralized data collection can be done using these technologies. And here also there's something called desktop. So most of you, I think our GIS community in Sri Lanka, they are very familiar with desktop GIS, mapping, analysis, and various things. Of course, you can do that when you are collecting data to a centralized environment. Again, it can be used for data analysis or the data related mapping activities. So it's kind of a geographic ecosystem which we can use. So here there are different architectures. One is called cloud-based architecture and also on-premises architecture. So these things are a little technical, but we have to go through them and get the better understanding of these tools. So there are two platforms or two different software applications we are using for these field data collection and monitoring applications. So one platform we called ArcGIS Enterprise, or again we can describe that kind of a on-premises GIS system, WebGIS system. So imagine you are in an organization and you want to share your information, or you want to connect your field force with your office, or the branch office people want to collect data and submit to the head office kind of scenario, we are using ArcGIS Enterprise, especially on premises, because some people, they want to have their data in their organizations. They have data policies to keep their data within the organization. So those kind of organization, even in Sri Lanka, they are using ArcGIS Enterprise technology for that kind of workflow. And again, we are using another one called ArcGIS Online. It is purely a cloud-based or away from your premises. So there are different cloud environments, S3 cloud environment, as well as there are different Microsoft Azure and different cloud environments. The same technology here, the ArcGIS Enterprise, is given as kind of a subscription. It is called a software as a service. So software given as kind of a service. So through a web browser, you can access that and do various WebGIS applications. So data collection applications are there, and also monitoring dashboards are there. So both platforms can be used for creating this type of applications. Okay. So this technique is kind of a quick deployable data collection apps and smartphones kind of thing. So here, the purpose is to save your time and create kind of a data collection form for using an app for data collection purposes. This again based on your requirements. So some organizations, they have very simple data collection purposes. Some organizations have very complex scenarios. Sometimes some organizations having questionnaire-based data collection workflows based on different requirements. So before going into this kind of technology, we have to evaluate what is the best thing we can fit into here. So sometimes some advanced questionnaires cannot be modeled in certain apps, but sometimes a developer environment that can be done. So likewise, first thing, we have to identify the proper requirement or what you need to do. So based on that only, we should go forward. So most of the organizations in our experience, we have seen sometimes using different technologies. Maybe for a simple application, we can use certain technologies, they are best for that. And some complex scenarios, we can use maybe a developer environment kind of thing suit for that particular scenario. So based on that, the very important thing is you have to identify your requirement or the organization's requirement before going into a particular technology or the application. So that's very important. Okay, based on that, there are different applications in S3 or the ArcGIS platform. There are plenty of different data collection or the monitoring, actually the visualizing related apps. So these apps we call field apps. So these are traditionally used apps. Some of them like Explorer for ArcGIS, Collector for ArcGIS, and Navigator, Workforce, these type of apps are called traditional ArcGIS apps. But now these things are integrated into a particular app called Field Maps. So this is kind of a prominent app for data collection purposes. So if we have a web map, it can be used for data collection by connecting through this particular application. And another popular one is called Survey 123. Today we will discuss more on that because it is very popular for data collection forms. So field map, the appearance of the field maps, this particular app, it's like that. So there's a signing in page in any ArcGIS app. There are methods without signing in also, but this particular app, you need to have a login. Then only you can connect with your organization and collect your data. And also it is helping us to viewing map and as well as location-based tracking. Then there's another app for different type of users. It's called Quick Capture. So this one is used for quick data capturing. Say for example, when you are driving or when you are traveling or kind of thing, if you don't have time to collect data, or if you are using a non-technical person to collect data, that kind of scenario, the Quick Capture kind of button-based app, when you click on a particular icon or the button, it will capture like location, photograph kind of thing at once. So that kind of application. So it can be used for simple data collection workflows. So it's another app. So we have discussed now two applications. One is called Field Maps. The other one is Quick Capture. Then we'll move into the main app. Today we are going to discuss ArcGIS Survey 123. So this one, the 123 means you can ask questions, get the answers, make the best decisions. So it's kind of a app for creating surveys, right? So if you want to have a data collection, a particular survey, it can be used. So it's like this. So if you have a paper form, this particular app we can use kind of a recreation of the form. So maybe you have different questions, the single choice questions. Maybe you will have multiple choice questions. Maybe you need to use kind of a scale. So there are different types of questionnaires in your questionnaire service. So those things can be modeled in a different way. Some of them like a drop down. So if you have a single choice question, it will come like a drop down. So likewise, the data collection can be done after creating the form. Okay. So what are the advantages of having this type of thing? One advantage is kind of, it can minimize the data entry operations. So that means if you have a paper questionnaire, you have to fill everything, and again you have to enter the data, and then only you will have a database. So you can skip that portion and you can collect data and it can be directly connected with the databases. And also there can be various other things like advantages, like if you want to have kind of a filter. So imagine when you select a particular province or district, imagine you want to filter your other data sets. Like when you select a province, only the districts within that particular province. So it's called kind of a filter. It's a choice filter. So that type of filters can be created using this technology. So the advantage is again, your data quality can be improved, and also these things are not very complex. So you don't need to be a programmer or a developer to create this type of form. So if you can learn the tool, it is kind of a template you can customize and do your work. And again, another advantage, we can use logical conditions for different questions. Say, there's another example here. If you said yes, the second question will appear. If you said no, the question won't appear. So again, this second question is controlled. It's a multiple choice question. It is totally controlled by the first answer. So it is kind of a formula which we can use in the Excel and implemented into this particular app. Right. So ultimately you can design. If you take the even kind of designing part, the different graphics, HTML, JavaScript based things also, If you have that knowledge, you can design very unique forms, right? With multiple colors and everything, right? Okay, so let's see how to create a form. So there are several methods of creating forms. For accessing Survey 123, we are using ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise environment. And there's a thing called App Launcher. Using the App Launcher, we can launch this particular app. So then you will find a kind of an environment like this. There are different options of creating surveys. There are different options. You can create a web form, totally a web-based form, or you can use a template, or you can use kind of an advanced software, the advanced form designing software to design your form. But again, the software is advanced, but we are using this kind of a spreadsheet application like Excel to design the questionnaire. Right. So that is the two main methods, using a web form or the Survey 123 Connect. It is called a Survey 123 Connect app. So let's see the appearance of a web form. It's like this. So you will have kind of a form here, a design environment, and also you can add questions from the right-hand side. One by one, you can add, then you can create questionnaire or a form. Here, there are some limitations also. Certain question types in the advanced Survey 123 Connects, you have more freedom to do questionnaires, but here also you can do very advanced questionnaire forms. But you have to think, you have to smartly think and do the questions one by one. Okay, let's see kind of a live demonstration on this particular environment. So I will share. Okay, give me a second. Okay. So first I will show you how to launch this application. So this is a kind of a web portal. So this is called ArcGIS Online. It's kind of an environment where we can do various WebGIS applications. So there are tabs here like a website. You can see different tabs. You have to sign into the system first. So using a sign in option, you can sign in. Again, you can sign out after you have finished your work. So there's the app launcher here. There's app launcher. So there are different types of apps here. So when you click on this particular one, you will find the environment of Survey 123. So here you can see different forms. And you can start. If you want to have a new survey, you can click on this button. So I told you there are three options, but the two main options, like creating a blank survey and also creating a survey based on Connect, you can go through this particular view. So let's create a simple one. So first it will load the design environment. So it's totally web-based, right? It's totally web-based. So you will find this type of environment. So here again, you can see tabs. There's a tab called Overview, Design, Collaborate, Analysis, Data, kind of tabs. So that means we can design the questionnaire and we can publish that. And we can do various data-related analytics, as well as you can export data. And there are some more settings also. So let's see a few things. So you can always change your title. I will put something like that. So you can put some tags, a keyword or summary. So these things are important for metadata purposes. That means you can have different information, the meaningful information related to your form. So very simple environment. Anyone can use this. So if you want to have a single line text, kind of a name, kind of an address, you can just drag and drop the question and then you can customize this. So it says untitled question 1. We can say something like this. Name. So if required, you can do some other things, like you can put some kind of a hint here. Maybe like this. So immediately you can see it change here. And also you can do something like this. If it is a required, a mandatory question, you can put this particular option. You can turn on that, then it will become kind of a mandatory question. You can see a red asterisk here. Okay. So again, the second question, you can go back to the add button. You can select various questions. There are different question types like multiple text kind of things. So I will go to another one. So since we are very familiar with GIS things, we can add something like this. Question with the map. So you can name it again. So again, you can decide what kind of geometry you want to collect. Maybe point geometry, maybe line geometry, or polygon. So you can decide that here based on that. So you cannot select everything in a particular form. You can use one of these geometry options. Then if you go further down, you can see the map here. So this map will appear on this particular form. So you can always change the extent of the map. So the appearance of the map, you can always change this extent. And also here there are more options called base maps, right? So if you want, you can edit these things. There are further settings, right? You can edit these things here, right? So there are different base maps, or you can check your own maps. If you have maps within your organization, if you have already created certain maps, so you can try them also, right? So a particular area, if you have a map, you can try that and see whether you can use the same map. So you can click OK and see. Right. So like this way, you can change the background map. And there are different options in this location. So we can take the advantage of that. Right. So we have two questions, name and the location. Let's see whether we can add another one. So maybe a kind of a file related question. So if you want to have a photograph or an image, then this type is the perfect question type. So here you can see the icon of a photo, or you can browse and upload the picture. Here, and also there are some other things. So if you want to do certain calculations, say for example, imagine you want to do kind of a calculation. So I would like to add something here. Another question. Maybe I will put a value here. Later I will put that. So there's an option here called calculation. So let's see whether we can add something. Here you can see the location, right? There are questions, the previously created questions are there. So imagine I want to capture maybe the city, maybe the latitude, longitude. Let's see whether we can capture the longitude here. So I will put like this way. So there's a calculation type. So when you do these things, you have to, when you are developing the questionnaire, you have to save it. Time to time, you have to save it. Then it will be saved as a questionnaire form. So while you are creating this one, you can also do certain things like designing. You can change colors, or you can use a template. Kind of themes are there. So that is kind of designing related things. And also you can preview and see. So this preview will appear again in the browser. So here you can see the preview option. You can close the preview. You can check with the different device sizes. There are few options here. So imagine you want to type something. Yes, we will type a name here. And also this one, when you click the location or when you tap the GPS button here, you can zoom into a location and create your location. Then immediately you can see the longitude extracted into another field question. So like that way, you can extract certain informations, calculate and extract certain informations even from this kind of simple web form, right? So I'll close this. So previews are there, different previews you can check like this way. So while you are creating, you have to preview again and again, and you can see. So ultimately, after creating the form, you have to publish it into the environment. Then only you will find links for sharing this particular form. Right. So that is related to the Survey 123 web designing option. Okay. Let's, so we have discussed on that. So then I would like to move into the second option. So here we have kind of environment or the kind of software application to create forms. So earlier there is no need for a software, just with the web browser you can create forms. But here you have to use kind of a small software. So it's downloadable. So we want to connect, it can be downloadable. Then you can create new surveys. So you can click on this new button, you can create new surveys using that. So after creating different surveys, you can publish again into the centralized environment. So here there are some sample forms here. You can have various icons and nice designs into that. So how to do this? So this is the environment. This environment, you will find some tools. In the left-hand side, you can see some icon, kind of like icon. It's like a spreadsheet. When you click on it, you can open a spreadsheet like this. So this spreadsheet, you can design your form. So you can select different question types and You can give a name for your field. That means attribute field. Then a label, appearing field, or the appearance of the field, alias. You can do that. So it can be a lengthy label, but these names, the field names, the best practice is to have short field names, shorter field names without spaces and usual characters. So this way, we can add different question types. So before using these PowerPoint slides, I would like to go back to this Survey123 Connect option. So when you installed it, it will be like this. So it will be like a kind of an icon here. You can click on that. Then it will be open like this way. So here you can find something called New Survey. So we have to click on that. Then it will give this option. So here you have to give a name for your form, right? So I will put a simple name here to save the time. So there are different templates, advanced templates kind of things. And also you can import certain other forms also. So you can create a survey here. So it will take little time to load the design environment like this way. And also it will load a spreadsheet application like this. A simple spreadsheet. So here you can see different tabs. This sheet is having different tabs. So these tabs can be used for controlling the appearance of the sheet, the form, the different things. So there are some sample questions here. Let's do some changes. So imagine you want to add a question, maybe a text one, name, maybe another question. So I'm just putting some values, right? Age, so I always use different characters, especially the underscore is better. We can't use sometimes same names if we try to use, then it will give a warning message. Right, let's see. Here the label, you can give any kind of label like this. So after having this, you have to save your form. Then what will happen, this design environment will refresh, right? It will be refreshed and you will see the new questions appearing like this way. So if you want to add something like this, if you want to add the location, so there are different location related question types like geopoint, so then it will load a question type with a map like this way. So it will have a map, and also you can switch into different background maps. Like this way. So we can design questionnaire based on this particular method. So if you want to have kind of a question, so imagine you want to have kind of a question like yes or no, a single choice question. So there should be another list for the choices. So here you can see a question type, another question type. If I click on the drop down, you will find something called select one list name. So here you can see select one yes underscore no. So in this list, you will find yes underscore norm list and yes, no, the types of options. So this will appear in the form based on the choices you have assigned. Right. So that way you can develop the questionnaire based on this particular application. Okay. So I will go back to my slides. Okay. So that way we can assign various types of questions like images, signatures, like the GPS location. We can use polygon, different types of things. Right. And also the multiple choices can be given, the multiple choice questions. Sometimes certain questions have more answers, then we have to decide. Without using the select one, we have to use select multiple option. So like this way, multiple choices. Okay, so I will go back to another one. So this particular question, it's a little bit advanced one. I will click on that. So here you can see some drop downs. You can select the province, then filtered into district, and again to MOH divisions. So there are different types of questions designed here. So here you can see a multiple choice question with some photos. So you can select multiple options like this way. Right. So after collecting data, there's a button here called submit button. Using that, we can submit the information. Right. So this is a little bit advanced one. So I can also show you the spreadsheet. So you can see a lot of questions modeled here, and also certain tags, the HTML codings, small tags has been used to design the form, and some formulas related things has been used for this particular question. Right. Okay. Right. Let's see. So I will go back to my slides. And again, the calculations. So sometimes we may need to use certain calculations. So the calculation option is also there. There are different forms. When you enter the data, you will find certain calculations. So for that, we have to write kind of a formula in the spreadsheet. Then only it will take these calculations while you are collecting data. So let's see whether we can check this option. So this is a questionnaire developed based on that kind of application. So when you are collecting, so this is again a sample question. So you can see certain information can be given. And here you can see the total number calculated here. when you enter the data, you will find the calculations like this way. So without re-entering data, this kind of calculations can be used as a useful method to collect certain information after entering set of information. Right. Okay. So likewise, this method, we can have various advanced options for a questionnaire. Like here, you can see sometimes we can control certain questions, appearance of the certain questions. So here you can see the first answer. If you give the answer as 1, then only the second question appears. So there is a small formula written here in the spreadsheet to control the appearance of this second question. So here you can see the first question name is water, and there's a choice called y_n. So the y_n has 2 choices, 1 and 2. What will happen? We can, when you have the question, it will give 2 options like this, yes or no. But the second question is the interesting one. It is controlled by an option called relevant. So there's a $sign and a small formula kind of thing. It represents the field, the water field, this one, representing the field name, equal number 1. That means this particular answer. So if we get this answer only, this question appears. So that way we can control the appearance of the question. So there can be hidden questions. Right. So that's kind of an advanced thing. So there are more advanced things like you can have multiple pages. So when you have questionnaires, sometimes you can't do it in the single page. You need to use multiple pages. So that option is there when it comes to advanced forms. And again, like kind of gridded formats. Sometimes people refer to have kind of a table type of format. Maybe not exactly as the questionnaire. Tables, some paper questionnaires, you have so many tables. Sometimes maybe not as the same way, but a particular way we can do this type of little advanced forms like the paper. So these things are available with this Connect app, the advanced options. Okay, so let's see a little bit advanced things. Again, I will go back to the Connect app. So I will show one type of advanced option. So these things are created forms. So here you can see a map question and latitude and longitude things. So when you click on a particular location, so what will happen? The latitude and longitude will be extracted from this location and put it into 2 fields. The similar thing which I have done in the web form. So here we'll open the spreadsheet again. Here there's a special function. So a little bit advanced calculation. It's called pull data. So it's pulling the data from the location and writing to the location X and Y. So it's a little advanced format, formula, but you can refer these things using the help documentation and write your own formulas related to the question. So it's helping us to extract the information again from the location to different fields. Then again, I would like to go to another advanced option. So I will save the old form. Let me go back to another one. So I mentioned you about the different grids kind of thing. So here you can see grid. So 2 rows, 2 columns actually. The questionnaire divided into 2 columns. So here you can see 2 columns, right? And you can collapse like this way. So this thing is called grouping. So some questionnaires, you have so many set of questions. So when you group it, it is clear. So like this way, you can have different groups. And here there's a interesting thing. So there can be multiple. This is called a repeater. You can have multiple things. So here you can select like this way and the grade. Then you can click on the plus button. Then again, you can select the second one like this. So now actually what you have done, you have repeated a portion of the question. You have done a repeat here, repeated questions. So likewise, you can control this repeat also. If you want to have another one, let's see, like this. So actually what it can do kind of a related table into your main database. It will design a related table based on these answers. So that way we can have multiple. Here you can have single choice question, but within a repeat background. So I will also open the Excel sheet. It's not a very complex thing. It's a very simple question again. So you can see something called repeat here. It's repeating. Okay. So again, I would like to go to another advanced option quickly. So these days, I think you all are talking about QR. So there are question type here. I will open the question here first. There's a question type here called barcode. So there's a type called barcode. So this type question, you can select, you can have the question and you have to scan the barcode, right? Then it will give a code. I'll try to give a barcode. I don't know whether it will scan properly. Let me try. Yes, it has detected. And here you can see your survey form, the registration forms linked. So if you try with your vehicle QR code, it will detect the QR code here. I can't try it here. Then you will take the code and do something else, right? Okay. So like that way you can detect if you have information related to this type of environment. Again, you can capture the data, right? Okay. And also something like this. So when you have data, sometimes maybe a kind of a polygon question, right? Maybe you can have questions in different ways. So imagine you have a question for creating a polygon or the area in the form. So this one, you can design first. So I will show you that Excel sheet again. 2 questions here. This question here, you can see kind of a little advanced formula in the here. What if you take carefully, it is not very advanced thing. There are words. Here you can see method, vertex, streaming, deep, distance, kind of thing. So it is saying deep kind of thing. So I will show you what is the functionality of this particular one. So I'll go back to my here. So here you can see the polygon. So you can click on that. Actually, this is called a streaming functionality. So streaming functionality means you can, while you are walking, you can create a polygon. So if you are working here, like this way, it will create the polygon and it will also give you a beep. So what you are controlling here, is the important part. You are controlling the vertices of the polygon streaming, and also it is giving a beep noise when there's a vertex created. And also there's a distance threshold, like in GPS devices, the 1 meter or 2 meter, based on the distance, it will put a vertex. So it's an interesting option while you are creating polygon data. Okay. So again, so most of you are having a question. So when we are using this particular technology, you're always asking a question whether how we are going to monitor the accuracy. So there are different options in the survey form or the Survey 123 field app. There's an app called Survey 123 field app. So there are options for getting the accuracy levels. So here you can see a satellite icon. When you click on that, you will find certain properties of your location. Then, so there are loggers here. And also you will find the Android application. Here it is installed in my Windows environment. The Android iOS applications, you will find the satellite page also. Right. Okay, so I will go back to my slides. And again, when somebody is submitting a survey, so there are options for notifying them using emails or kind of SMS using third-party applications like Microsoft Power Automate. We can configure them with Survey 123, and when somebody submitted the form, it will automatically generate an email or even SMS. Right. So there are plenty of applications of Survey 123. In Sri Lanka also there are many users, especially for disaster situations. So you don't have much time for do very complex forms or develop forms. So that kind of situation, this is very useful tool because you can save your time and design forms and deploy it in the field. So we have done it, I think, before many years when Survey 123 was introduced earlier, like 2015-16 time period, we have done something when a disaster happened. We got few locations. There was a flood in the country. There was few locations, whether you need food, water, or any other shelter. Few locations submitted by people. But there was a very important locations. People who were isolated in a place, they have submitted a location, and that particular location, then the disaster management people, they have supported them. So that kind of scenarios, we can try this application. And especially health applications. Like in the COVID situation, there are a lot of survey forms, and this is kind of a survey related to polio for huge amount of people. Again, different applications, the questionnaire forms, another application, you can read these things in the internet, the applications of Survey 123. And the monitoring part. So the monitoring is again important thing. So data collection is important. Likewise, we have to monitor your data collection. So there are different applications called dashboards. Again, the Survey 123 app, it is creating maybe point feature, line feature, polygon feature in the web environment or the centralized environment. This can be configured to dashboards, and dashboard calculations applications can be applied to them. Okay, let's see a few dashboards. With the limited time, I will show you few sample dashboards. So like this way, so this is our usual or the traditional dashboard we are using for every year. We are having GIS Day competition. People can submit various locations. So there are winners. So when you click on a particular location, you will find the information about the interesting place. So everything is captured using Survey 123, and we are monitoring from the dashboard application. Even winners are selected through here. Right. So these things are some other applications for dashboards. You can even have filters like this, right? It will filter data. So again, when you are zooming map also, you can change your appearance of this data, the calculations. So it's really useful for monitoring information. So dashboard designing is not very difficult thing. Again, you need to configure it with the Survey 123 point layer or line layer or polygonal layer. Okay. So let's go into the last segment of today's webinar, the latest developments of this particular application. So there are plenty of developments. One, I already demonstrated the streaming option when you are digitizing or when you are capturing a polygonal data in the field. Then you can try this kind of streaming options using the form. Then another important thing, now it is not just the GPS. There are things called IPS, the Indoor Positioning Systems. So there are Indo GIS applications now. There's application in ArcGIS, there's called ArcGIS Indoors, integrated with different applications like CAD software platforms. So you can have indoor plans, door plans, indoor applications, and again, Survey 123 can be used in the indoor environment with the support of different indoor positioning systems. So that's kind of a latest development in this particular application. Okay. So these are some resources. We can share these resources with you for the Survey 123. Anyone can start learning this particular application. Right. I think I have come into the end of my session. I think we can open the floor for the questions. Yeah, I have shared some resources with you, so you can ask questions if you have any clarifications. And also we would like to mention we are providing different awareness programs for this particular applications, especially for our customer organizations. And also there are training programs available for this particular application. So if you have questions here, you can ask now. So I will go to the chat window. There is a question called, can you explain the streaming option a little? So streaming option we can use for both the line features and the polygonal features. So it will detect, it will put vertices while you are collecting data. So that's the workflow streaming option. So when you imagine you are going around a particular polygonal area, you can turn on the streaming and go around that, then it will put the vertices. So in GPSs also this option is available. Some people, most of the people is having a question in their mind about the accuracy of this kind of mobile related apps. So there are several options actually. This device can be connected with external GNSS receivers to improve the accuracy. So like GPSs, the devices can be communicated with Bluetooth or USB kind of method with external devices, external GNSS devices to improve the accuracy level. Yes, there's a question here, how to transform your data. So there's a question here. Again, I would like to go back to my screen. Let me see. So I will go back to kind of, so we'll save this. So actually, the any question here, so if you have already published something, let's see whether we can show you something. So there's a tab called data with you can do, so here this one has limited information. So this particular tab, so there's a tab here. Using this tab, you can export data into different formats like Excel, KML, Shape, even file GeoDatabase is the best option. You can export. And also, there are options called reports. So this report option, you can upload the template from Word document and have various types of reports. So actually the information is collected to this particular web environment, but you can always export them to your traditional data formats. That's possible. Okay, if you have any more questions, you can always put that into the chat window. Yes, there's a question about the point features. Can we see how the data collectors are navigating? Yes, there's an option in there's another application called Workforce. In a when you use combine Survey 123 and the Workforce, if all the users are logging, they have a logins. You can actually monitor the workforce where they are located, where they have locating their features, that kind of things you can monitor. And again, there's another part in the question, how can we integrate a GNSS equipment with this? So there in the Survey 123 field app, this can be only done through the field app, not the web browser form. In the field app, there are options, there are settings for configuration. So based on that configurations, we can connect. Okay, so we can take few more questions. Okay, so I will share my phone number and the email. If you have any questions later on, you can always contact us. And also, we would like to mention you about the training programs. If you are willing to learn about Survey 123 with more details, so within an hour we can't do that. So there are plenty of things, and also it is your own designs, on your smart thinking. You can design nice forms based on your own way. The software gives you kind of a facility, but your creativity always there. So nice tool, you can try that, and you can apply that into your data collection workflows and see whether it is really useful or not. So with that notice, we would like to conclude our session. And today with me, there are plenty of people supporting this particular webinar, especially the coordinating part, Samanmali Isuru and our technical team. They are supporting with me. And we wish you all the best with this type of field data collection applications. In future, you will have to use this type of things because the centralized databases will be very useful and need to be used to speed up this type of data collection workflows. And thank you very much. And we would like to meet you again from another webinar. Thank you.